when I'm holding up those title cards, I can't see what you're seeing, so hopefully they were readable. Hopefully my hands weren't in the way. They weren't too close or too far from the camera. This is a thoroughly amateur production. That's why you see those fake title cards. That's why the lighting is so funky. I mean, you got this bright over here on my right and dark on the left. I just don't have the funds to get a professional setup, nor the room to put it in, and I wouldn't know what to do with quality equipment anyway. I'm a hick. I'm a thorough amateur. That's why it's a thoroughly amateur production. Howsoever, I believe that although I don't have a ton of subscribers, click subscribe, please. Increase my subscribers by one. I don't have a ton of subscribers, but I believe that the niche I'm filling with this channel is one that somebody needs to fill. I wish somebody like me had been out there doing these kind of videos back in 2021 when I started drinking whiskey, because I didn't know from nothing. And when you're first starting out, you're not going to know all the things that you do later, and to have it all in one place, it would be a good idea. Why? Don't ask me why nobody come up with it before. If I was that smart, I'd be rich. Today's video is, in fact, let me see how I worded it in my list. What whiskey should you buy? What's the best whiskey? Well, those, while they're related, are not necessarily exactly the same question. I've put them together because they are related to an extent. Let's go on. Let's deal with the idea of the best whiskey. Now, they're not my favorite whiskey channel, not my favorite whiskey people as far as the videos they do. There are some that are my favorites. This is all coming out wrong. It's sounding like I'm insulting people, and I absolutely do not intend to do that. But Rex Williams and Daniel Whittington, I think I've got them. I think it's those are the last names. I might have got them swapped. Anyways, they say that the best whiskey is the whiskey you like, the way you like to drink it. I could not say it better if I tried for 100 years. What's the best whiskey? The whiskey you like. Years ago, my aching foot, when I was just getting started, which was about a year and a half ago, no exaggeration here, by the way. I would never exaggerate nothing. When I was just getting started in whiskey, Mike Honcho in the whiskey group on MeWe, which unfortunately has no activity to it at all unless I post something, so I just give up. He said that if you like it, it's good whiskey. I couldn't put it any better again if I tried for 100 years. So the best whiskey for you is the whiskey you like. However, there are some general things I can say in this video about what constitutes good whiskey versus bad whiskey, whiskey you might like versus whiskey you might not like. I would first of all avoid the very cheapest brands, at least at first. I have found that there are some $20, $25 whiskeys out there that are good. But they're not that common. And so if you just grab what's cheapest, you're probably going to get utter crap. You know, I don't know if it's just cheap grain in the mash bill, cheap barrels, just lack of concern for quality, I don't know. But that very cheapest whiskey is generally going to be thin. It's not going to have much on the nose. It's not going to have much on the taste. About all you're going to get out of it is alcohol, and it's probably 80 proof anyway, which is the lowest you can legally have it and still call it whiskey in the United States. don't get anything that claims to be rapid aged. There have been attempts, apparently since the 1800s, certainly there are attempts now, to take whiskey and somehow age it in a few months or even a few weeks or days rather than several years. All of them have failed in one way or another. Now, you can expose whiskey to wood and do various things to that so that there will be color and there will be flavor come from the wood into the whiskey, but it won't taste right, even if the color is right. And that's because there are some processes in aging that do not work quickly, cannot work quickly. Now, what is aging? How does it work? I don't believe I really got into this in my video on aging, which I've done. I can't remember if I've uploaded it yet. By the time you see this video, it's going to be weeks and weeks since I actually made it. And I can't remember what I've uploaded. I have to go check. But when whiskey is sitting in a barrel house, rick house, warehouse, whatever you want to call it, the temperature fluctuates. The sun comes up, it gets hotter. The sun goes down, it gets cooler. Summer comes, it gets hot. Winter comes, it gets cold. And heat and cold change things. When they're hot, they expand. When they're cold, they contract. And that means the whiskey is moving in and out of the wood daily, maybe even hourly, depending on the weather and where it is in the barrel house, where the barrel house is, the orientation of that barrel house. A barrel that's sitting in the direct sunlight coming in the window for an hour a day is going to get a little more heat than the barrels on either side that aren't in that direct sunlight. So different barrels can experience it differently, but they're all expanding and contracting. The whiskey's going into the wood and out of the wood, and there are chemical changes that take place slowly that you cannot speed up. And so it takes years to get the full flavor. You might get the color in 24 hours. You are not going to get truly aged whiskey in 24 hours or 24 days or 24 weeks, no matter what you call it, no matter what you do. So avoid rapid aged whiskey. Probably when you're first starting, you should avoid the higher price stuff. Not because it's bad necessarily. The most expensive bottle I've ever been able to afford is $58. It is almost the best whiskey I've ever had too. On the other hand, the best whiskey I've ever had is a $30 bottle. And there may be whiskey better than that, which I haven't had because I can't afford it. But if you can get whiskey that good for $30, why would you want to spend $100? Now, if you have the money to spend, if it won't break your bank and you want to, yes, it's your money, it's your whiskey, you have that right, go for it. I just can't see it. Not when there's so much good whiskey out there. You know, if somebody was to give me a bottle of Blanton's, I'd try it. If somebody was to give me a bottle of Pappy 23, I'd try it. Even if I had the money, would I chase those? Why would I bother? There's plenty of whiskey out there that's available. And I'll get to that if I can remember in just a second. But you don't try the expensive stuff right off. First, you want to know if you even like whiskey in general. You might not. If you don't, I feel sorry for you. I really do. I wished I had known years ago what whiskey has to offer, but I didn't. Life goes on. If the first thing you do is grab $50 bottles, $60 bottles, $100 bottles, and you don't like it, you're out $50, you're out $60, you're out $100. If you're buying $25, $30, $40 bottles, you're still out money, but you aren't out near as much. And so to begin with, You're probably not going to be buying much Scotch. You're probably not going to be buying much Irish whiskey. You won't be buying special releases, single barrels, barrel proofs, things like that, store picks. You can get into those later. There'll always be time. But at first, you just want to know, do I like Four Roses? So you grab the basic bourbon. Do I like Knob Creek? You grab the 9. Do I like Maker's Mark? You grab the basic Maker's Mark. Do I like Wild Turkey? I would not advise grabbing the 80. Unless you are absolutely brand new and this is one of your very first bottles, then the 80 proof might be best for you. But the basic Wild Turkey is 101. It's 101 proof. And if you think you're ready for that much proof, then yes, that's the whiskey to buy of the Wild Turkey brand to see if you like it. And, these are all whiskeys. They're not going to run more than $40, probably not even that. Now, every place is different. You have a different selection here than there. You have higher prices over here than you have over there. And so I can give you my advice based on what I know. Where you are, that advice may or may not be practical. So if I mention something and you can't find it, I apologize. I have no way of knowing where you are and what's available where you are. I can only go on my own experience. But yeah, try the basics first. Don't go for the special expressions, the fancy whiskeys. And they will put out barrel proofs. There are store picks. There are single barrels. These might be excellent whiskey, but they're expensiver. Yes, I'm a hick. If you can't tell it by now, let me tell you, I'm a hick. And I don't care who knows it. I'm proud of it. Why should I be ashamed of it? What them city boys got that I ain't got except grime and crime and noise? I wished I didn't live in a city. Yes, I'm digressing. I'm a hick and I'm digressing. And I've lost where I was. What else can I tell you about what you should buy? I'm going to do a video later on, and I'm going to have to write up lists for that, because if I try to do it off the top of my head, I'll botch it, sure. But I'm going to do actually 2 videos. One, what are my 5 favorite whiskeys? And another one, what 5 whiskeys do I recommend for beginners? And so those are coming up. If you like the channel, or you just want to see those, because they're coming up. I haven't even recorded them yet, and I record weeks in advance. If you want to see those, or if you just like what I'm doing, if you want more whiskey basics and some whiskey reviews too, I do those, then please subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, click the like button. If you want to comment, do it. But just remember, the best whiskey is the whiskey you like, the way you like to drink it. I drink mine straight. I get all the flavor that way. If I put a few drops of water in, it might open things up and give me more. It might not. I'm happy to drink it straight. If you like it over ice, I don't drink it that way. But if you like it that way, you can drink it that way. If you like to put water in, if you like to put soda in, why? But it's you who's drinking it. You have to drink whiskey the way you like it. Don't let me tell you how to drink your whiskey. Don't let anyone tell you how to drink your whiskey. And don't let anyone tell you what whiskey you must drink or must not drink. If I had listened to people who were trying to tell me you shouldn't drink that, you have to drink this, I'd have never found Balcones Distilling, which is the best whiskey I've ever tasted. So drink what you like. Drink it the way you like it. That's the best whiskey. That's what you should buy.